Next, we're taking a look at what are called geometric sequences. So in an arithmetic sequence, you add the same number to each term. For a geometric sequence, you multiply each term by the same number. So our first example, we have a common ratio instead of a common difference of 3. Of course, we have an explicit formula and a recursive formula for this sequence as well. Our explicit formula is a little bit simpler than our explicit formula for the arithmetic sequence. The nth term is the first term times the common ratio to the n minus 1 power. In the recursive formula, you take the previous term and you multiply by the common ratio, similar to our arithmetic recursive formula. All right, so our first example, we have a geometric sequence. We need to figure out what our common ratio is so we can write our explicit formula. So one way to find the common ratio is to take the second term and divide it by the first term. So this would simplify to 10/25 fairly easily, and then dividing each of these by 5, we get a common ratio of 2/5. And you can double check that. Hopefully you can fairly easily tell that 100 times 2/5 will give us 40. So to find the fifth term, well, we have the first 4, so we could use our recursive formula. Sorry, let's write our explicit formula first. So t sub n equals first term times the common ratio to the n minus 1 power. What's nice about this formula is there's no simplification required. All right, so to find the fifth term, we can use our recursive formula, 16 times the common ratio, which gives us 32/5, or if you prefer mixed numbers, 6 2/5. So the next two examples, we are going to determine whether or not the sequence is geometric. So what we need to do is, if the sequence isn't this straightforward, where you can easily see that you're multiplying by 2 each time, one thing you can do is take the second term divided by the first term. Does that equal the third term divided by the second term, which equals the fourth term divided by the third term, which equals the fifth term divided by the fourth term. If all of those ratios are equal, that is our common ratio, and the sequence is geometric. And of course, we can tell that our common ratio is 2, so yes, this is a geometric sequence. To find the next 3 terms, we can just keep multiplying by 2. Recursive formula works when you're finding the next few terms. And some of you, if you like that game 2048, may recognize these numbers. All right, similar looking sequence. So let's see if this one's geometric. 4 divided by 2, does that equal 12 divided by 4? And does that equal 48 divided by 12? Well, when we simplify each of these, we get 2, 3, and 4, which of course are not equal, so this is not a geometric sequence. But there is definitely a pattern, so we can find the next 3 terms. We multiplied by 2, then multiplied by 3, then multiplied by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 5, which will give me 240. Multiply that by 6, which gives me 1440. Multiply that by 7, and I get 10,080.